What's going on, YouTube family? Welcome to Automotive Life. My name is Lucky, and today we're going to be talking about something that's a major problem right now in the automotive industry. It's people being upside down in their cars. Now, being upside down means you have a lot of negative equity into your vehicle. And there's two different ways you can actually get negative equity when it comes to buying a car. We're going to explain both of these and also what you can do to get out from under it and how this is going to have major effect with dealerships actually selling cars, because you have to remember, most Americans every 2 to 3 years tend to buy a new car. And if people bought cars back in 2020, now are getting ready to trade them back in and they're upside down, what do? So everybody knows that when you first buy a vehicle and you drive it off the lot, you lose about 10 to 15% of the vehicle value instantly. That's why most dealerships ask for about 15 to 25% down to make sure you outrun depreciation or outrun the actual negative equity. And they always tell people, try to keep the car for 2 to 3 years. If you get a high interest rate, always look to refinance it, so this way you're never upside down and you're never in a bad spot. Well, unfortunately, during the pandemic, a lot of people were overpaying for cars and going absolutely nuts when it comes to buying things. So I'm going to show you guys the two ways you can get negative equity. So unfortunately, I'm going to be picking on two specific cars. The first one is going to be the Chevy Corvette C8. The next one is going to be a Tesla. Now, there are two separate ways to actually get negative equity when it comes to buying a new car. I'm going to go over both of those. Also, make sure to stay tuned to the end because we're going to go over how to make sure you don't fall into this trap, the things you need to do, and if you currently are upside down on your loan, what can you do about it? Now let's go ahead and start with the C8 Corvette. Now when these cars first came out, they were just in super high demand. People were chirping all over the internet, these things are amazing, blah, 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 and Chevy saw that. Now usually you pay what's called MSRP, which is the manufacturer suggested retail price. That's right here. Well, Chevy knew that there was such a demand. They said, you know what? We're going to add maybe 10, 20, 30, all the way up to $50,000 over MSRP on some of these models that were C8 Corvettes. So just for this sake of argument, I'm going to use $30,000 because I've seen a lot of people pay 30 grand over for an over MSRP for a C8 Corvette. So let's add that money right there. So the customer buys the car, and it's sad to say a lot of people did not put big down payments during the pandemic. Even though they had all this stimulus money and some people went out and got PPP loans, the down payments weren't as strong. Even if they put 10, 15 grand down, that would take care of sales tax, and they were still upside down quite a bit. Because remember, the second that car drives off the lot, you lose equity. But not only are they paying full MSRP, they're paying above that and sales tax. So keep this in mind. So a lot of C8 Corvette buyers bought these cars at premium highs for all the money over MSRP with loan down payments. So now what's happening is all these people that have been renting these cars out for Turo, driving them, having fun, now want to upgrade and either get a convertible or get the Z06. So what's happening and what we're seeing in the market is a lot of people bringing these cars in, 2020, 2021 Corvettes with 10, maybe 8,000 miles, and they're upside down $30,000 to $40,000. The craziest one I saw was a 2020 with 30,000 miles that they owned $120,000 on. Now, they originally offered him $56,000 for trade, and the customer was so upset, he said he was going to sue Chevy, blah, blah, blah. And that's what we're seeing in the market is there's so many people that bought these C8 Corvettes way over MSRP, they have no way to get rid of them. And one of the worst thing is that people are so desperate to get these things, they were okay with paying higher interest rates. So I know some people out there that have C8 Corvettes at 15 to 18% interest. Now, traditionally what happens is as you pay down the car with monthly payments, you could always refinance it and get a lower payment. But this doesn't happen when you're upside down in a car. So if let's say this car is worth, you purchased it for over $120,000. Now it's only worth about $70,000, and you have all this negative equity, which is basically the money you still owe the bank, the difference between what the car's worth and what your bank loan is. You have to pay this all the way off before a bank or credit union will refinance this, because they will only refinance it for the amount of what the vehicle is valued at. And this is the dilemma that we're seeing with a lot of people. They're either stuck in their cars, they can't trade them in, or they can't refinance them to help lower their payments. So all in all, this is going to mean a lot of people either walking away from their cars or being upside down, or actually even worse, being delinquent. And this is one of the reasons why we're seeing record high delinquencies in the automotive industry, is because so many people can't afford their cars with these overinflated prices, with this higher interest. They can't refinance it. They can't get out of these cars. And this is what happens. So unfortunately, like I said, there was a lot of people that were overpaying for cars that believed in the hype, and now they're getting screwed. Now, I'm not even making fun of some of the G-Wagon people. You guys know, like, I make fun of G-Wagons. I think that's my favorite one. People are paying $100,000 over MSRP. So just imagine owing $150,000, or excuse me, $250,000 on a car that's worth maybe $90,000 to $110,000 to a dealer like myself. That is absolutely ridiculous. And the banks basically let the dealers get away with it because it was all overhyped. So unfortunately, all this bone-crushing debt falls on the American people. And not only does it affect the American people, it actually affects the banks, because the banks are the ones that bundle this paper off and sell it to your retirement funds, hedge funds, or maybe even some people actually buying this paper for passive income. This is how it affects everybody. And then on top of that, as these cars start going to auction, guess what's going to happen? Like C8 Corvettes, you can see now. I remember you never saw these things at the auction. Now you can see maybe 10 to 15 every single week. Every week they run through, they get cheaper and cheaper. And guess what happens? That means that the value of your overpriced thing goes down every single week, every time a car sells for a new low. And that just basically hurts the people that are staying in these cars. So this is the really bad snowball decline of what could happen when you have so much negative equity. They can't refinance it, you can't trade it in, and you can't get rid of it. You're basically screwed. And the worst thing is gap insurance. I'm going to tell you this right now. If you have one of these cars, you need to get gap insurance. It is critically important. So now that we're done making fun of the C8 Corvette, let's go ahead and move to the Tesla. Now, Teslas are super popular. I know the fanboys out here are probably going to get upset because I'm going to start making fun of Teslas. But let's say we have our Model S here, and let's use the Plaid, because I can actually personally vouch for a lot of these because I have a bunch of friends that bought Plaids that are absolutely pissed right now. So let's say you paid, I think my friend paid $135,000 for his Tesla Plaid. So imagine paying $135,000 for this Plaid in 2021. You're super excited, you got it, you're one of the first people to get it, and you're like, okay, you know what, I'm going to drive this thing, and then after maybe a year or two, I'm going to go ahead and get a new one. Fast forward to 2023, he decided to take his beautiful Tesla into the actual dealership to trade it in, and they gave him an offer of $61,000. Now his loan, even with putting $20,000 down, he still owes like $6,000 on his loan. So he's wondering, he goes, why is it so low? Why am I only getting an offer for $61,000 for a 2-year-old car with 10,000 miles that I paid $136,000 or $137,000? And basically what they told him is that you can buy a brand new Tesla Model S Plaid for $97,000 when he bought his for $136,000 or $137,000. So just imagine that. Tesla, not the actual market, not the value, not KBB, Tesla itself is screwing its customers by dropping the price of the car down to what it is now. Now, all you people that bought Tesla the last 2-3 years, I feel bad for you guys. Every time they make a price drop, it rapidly affects the aftermarket industry. What I mean by this is dealers are willing to pay even less for these cars. So I know there's a lot of people out there that bought brand new Model Ys at the beginning of this year. Now you can get them for $8,000 to $10,000 cheaper. Same thing with Model 3s. So all these people that purchased these cars that are Tesla fanboys that wanted to stay loyal to the brand are not getting rewarded. So now they have, a $120,000 loan for a car that's worth half of that. So if he needs to get rid of his car, he has to put almost, I think, like $40,000 or $50,000 down to get another Tesla Plaid that's the exact same thing. And so you got to remember, every time a new model comes out, it's always a little bit more expensive than the old one because there's maybe new technology, inflation, just the cost of doing service or the cost of goods. That's the way we always see it. The 2021 should always be cheaper than the 2023, but not in the Tesla world. So not only can you get screwed by dealerships when you overpay for a C8 Corvette, you can get screwed by the actual manufacturer when they start dropping prices. Now, one thing I'm going to tell you this is everybody's always saying that Tesla's the greatest car and Tesla's great and they're amazing and everybody needs to get one. If Tesla was so great, why are they lowering the prices of their cars? It's because they can see that the market is slowing down. The demand is slowing down. The competition is getting fierce. When you can buy a Kia, I think it's almost $20,000 or $13,000. I can't remember if it's $20,000 to $18,000 cheaper than an actual Tesla Model 3 and does the same range. So now people are starting to see that there's other cars that are stepping into its sector that are more competitive. So why should Tesla sell their stuff for cheaper? Is because they need to keep that market share. They need to get more cars out there. But every time they do this, they're actually screwing the people that bought their cars, their biggest supporters, their biggest fans. So unfortunately, a lot of you guys today are upside down in your Teslas. Never thought it'd be possible. I know a lot of people think that Teslas were going to the moon and the value doesn't go down. In a traditional market, don't think of the pandemic. The last 3 years doesn't even count. Traditionally, the cars go down in value. They don't go up. So now that you're upside down in this car, what do? Well, like I said, you can't refinance it because you're upside down and you're going to have to pay it off. But you need to get gap insurance once again, because if you were to drive your brand new Tesla Plaid and somebody rear ends you, automatically they total out your car. Now you have a $30,000, $40,000 balance that you're paying out of your own pocket because the insurance will only cover what the vehicle's worth. So right now, if I were all you guys driving Teslas, call up your insurance company and ask them how much is it for additional gap coverage. I'm telling everybody this. If you could refinance it, try to refinance it. And the worst thing is interest rates are going up, so you may even have the lowest rate you could possibly get right now. So now you're cornered in. You can't sell it, you can't trade it in, you can't refinance it, and then God help you if somebody crashes, because now you can't even get out of the car or get out of the loan because you don't have proper gap insurance to cover you, to cover the deficiency of what your loan is. So these are some of the things that I really want people to start thinking about and looking around, and these are some of the things that I want people to think about when they're thinking about buying a new car or when they're thinking about buying from a certain brand. To be honest with you, Tesla should not have any brand loyalty. What they did to their consumers was absolutely horrific. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, if you're upside down, please check with your credit unions, check the vehicle values, call your bank, see if there's anything you can do, and make sure that you have gaps so this way you can protect yourself, your family, your financial well-being. If you have any other questions or concerns, always put in the comment section below. I try to answer almost all of them in the first hour, so make sure you click the notification bell so you're notified the second the video drops. And once again, follow us on Instagram at Lucky Lopez. Follow us on Twitter. I'm trying to do better at that. It's also at Lucky Lopez. And we have some really great projects coming up. We have another big one that we're going to show you. The smart car is almost done. I got one more video with that one, and then we're starting our very big major project. But I also have some new stuff with the website. We're going to be selling some also products and some really great stuff. I can't wait to tell you guys more about it, but we're going to have to save that for Friday's video. We'll see you next time.